Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste and welcome to this wonderful weekend of healing. That is what the theme of this whole retreat is. And not a moment too soon, especially because of a very practical reason, which I'm sure Swami Sitaji has in her wisdom thought about, is that around the holidays, there is a lot of unrest that comes up, and it is a good time for the healing of the mind and also the body because we eat so much. And so that is the theme. And today's topic is something called inner duality. What that is and what to do about it is some few thoughts I would like to share this wonderful morning. Very happy to be here. It's always a delight and a privilege. The Shastras, which mean the teachings, talk about two kinds of dualities. One we can call outer duality, and about that we need not say too much because it is all around us. Each person is different. There are many bodies in the room, there are many minds in the room. Sometimes there are more minds than the number of bodies present. So there are, each, when you go outside, each tree outside this room, I mean, each tree is different from another tree, and the earth is different from this tree, and the building is different from the earth. That over about duality, which in Sanskrit is called Dvaita, we don't need we don't need to be taught about Dvaita. We are experts on Dvaita. So this outer duality, we don't need any kind of a instruction because we already know that there are many things in the universe, and all of these things are some things which we study about in school, which we talk about, which we do, research on. All the PhD theses are all about different things. And when you go to study, starting with KG, KG, A for apple, apple is different from B for bat, and then all the way to PhD, same thing. Each thing is different. Now, even though there is not much to be said about outer duality, it seems to affect us. That is one thing which we can say in common, regardless of the country we are from, regardless of how we look, regardless of the color of the skin, the color of the hair. We can say that the so-called outer duality is what is affecting me. And this is why we all have the index finger. This is the pointing finger. Why are you unhappy? Even a 2-year-old says, because of him. He beat me up. She took away my toys. This is what it is. This finger is only there to point. That's why it's called pointing finger, because that's all it does. Keeps pointing to everything in the universe as the cause of my constriction, as the cause of my sorrow, as the cause of my fear, as the cause of my discontent, as the cause of my disenchantment, of the cause of my discomfort. So there is the world which is so-called outer duality, and there is poor old me, victimized, upset, and terrorized by everybody out there. This is our vision of outer duality. Then the Shastra also talks about inner duality. And what is this inner duality is not very, very clear, especially for the people who are outside of this ashram. Meaning, everybody, the masses in general, because when there is not enough space or interest in any kind of a reflective practice and internal practice, what happens is that the outer duality becomes the entire focus of one's life, and one goes from womb to tomb fighting against that outer duality. That's what is the main thing. And the child keeps on pointing and fighting. And then what? From age 2 to age 92, it's the same thing. Blaming, 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 fighting, 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 striving, striving, striving for some kind of peace and some kind of a sense of equanimity. The inner duality is available because of a lot of privilege. Really, it's a big privilege to be aware of the fact that there is something wrong here. And why is that a privilege? Because the Shastra itself points out, the Bhagavad Gita itself points out, Lord Krishna in the beginning of the 7th chapter says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschidyatati siddhaye yathatamapi siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tatvatah. Meaning, out of thousands and thousands of human beings who are obsessed with outer duality and who are terrorized and victimized by it, who feel victimized by it, only one among the thousands is interested in knowing me, in understanding that there is something else other than this, being born with a pair of boxing gloves and boxing one's way through lifetime after lifetime. There is that awareness. And that awareness is because, or partly because of karma. There is, in some ways, one comes with it's like renting a car. And then when you rent a car in this country, you get a full tank of gas. Afterwards, you have to fill it up, after you drive. But it comes with some petrol already in it. And so too with the karmic petrol of good karma that helps you to move forward and what is this good karma? Actions which are in keeping with dharma, with what is correct, what is right, what is appropriate, what is good for oneself, all these kinds of actions. So the effects of these kinds of actions, what happens to them? They come back in the next life, like what we say in Sanskrit, kavacha, like a protective shield, protecting oneself from being too much influenced and afraid of and consumed by outer duality. This is a very nice thing. So part of it is karma and part of it is one's own purushartha. Purushartha means one's own initiative, because that karmic protection, and which is in the form of the human birth, which is in the form of a desire to visit an ashram, to start a course of study about oneself. All this is already there. It's a gift. It's a gift. And then with that, I help those flames, I help fuel those flames with my own initiative. And for such people, there is this understanding that there is something terribly wrong. Two kinds of things become very clear. One, there is something terribly wrong. Two, I need help. That's very important. It's not a sign of weakness to understand that one needs help. Actually, it's a sign of intelligence and strength. These two things come together. Something is terribly wrong and I need help. That is the subject matter of the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where we see an agitated and a completely almost demented Arjuna not acting like himself at all. Not at all acting like himself. First, he is in denial. First, he is full of aplomb. First, he goes and treats Lord Krishna, who is driving the chariot, like a chauffeur. Hey, James, you know, put my chariot in the middle of the two armies so that I may see. So what may you see? Who dares to fight with me? सेनयोर उभयोर मध्ये रथम स्थापय मेच्युत यावदेतान् निरीक्ष्येऽहं योद्धुकामान् अवस्थितां कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे योत्स्यमानान् निवेक्ष्येऽहम्. He says, I want to look at them. I want to look at them in the eye. How dare they fight with me? I'm the best, east or west. Who do these people think they are? So that the first stage of anything is denial, including coming to the understanding of the fact that there is something wrong and that one needs help. And then, so that's the first stage. Then Lord Krishna complies. Lord Krishna does not get all riled up and say, how dare you, and look at me like this, and how dare you address me like this? Don't you know I'm Bhagavan? Don't you know even the Bhagavad Gita says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord said. In nowhere does it say Shri Krishna Uvacha. It's Arjuna Uvacha. It is Dhritarashtra Uvacha. It is Sanjaya Uvacha. Uvacha means said. But it is not Krishna Uvacha. It is Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Oh, and then you are talking to me. All you're talking to me with all these names. Hey, Achyuta. Oh, you, come on. Oh, you indeclinable one. Put my chariot. He doesn't get riled up at all. He does his own thing. He says, okay, sir, you want me to take the chariot between the two armies. I'll do that. But whenever Lord Krishna does something, there's always a little twist, little wily, not fully trustworthy. That's why he stands in three bends. Yeah, because he demonstrates Ananda. So when a Bharatanatyam dancer depicts Lord Rama, she's always stiff like this and she walks like that. But you ask the same dancer to depict Krishna and she gets all very, like a Tribhangi, means the one who has three bends. Meaning it's Ananda. Ananda is always in the form of something non-objectifiable, non-predictable, and non-measurable. It is limitless. And that Ananda is you really. And because of that Ananda, because he embodies that Ananda, it gives him the license to do the kinds of things he does in the Mahabharata war. And the first one I'm about to tell you is that he takes the chariot between the two armies, but inches it closer towards all the elders standing there. In everyone's lap, Arjuna had played. Now what? Arjuna looks and all his denial deserts him. His false, what is that? machismo. He had beaten his chest and said, "Ra, ra, ra," and the kettle drums were beating and the conch shells were all loud and there was the din of the war and he knew he was the best and all that just fled. Why? Outer duality, all these things. Dhritarashtra, all these people he can see, he can do that. Bhishma is there, and Pitamaha, the grandsire of the war, and then there is Drona, his teacher. There's all these people in whose lap he had played, and then all the younger people, and his own nephews who had played in his lap. And then, that is when he just says, "Oh, I can't fight this war. Can't do it, won't do it. Nayotsye, not even can't. Nayotsye means I will not. I'm not fighting this war. I don't fight, simple." And then who doesn't fight? I mean, especially if you're a warrior, you have to fight. Even 5,000 years later, the rules haven't changed. If you if you conscript into the army, you can't, when the war breaks out, you cannot just flee. It's an offense. It's a federal offense. You can't, it's called desertification. You can't just desert whenever you feel like you leave. You can't do that. And he is the commander-in-chief of the army. He cannot do that at all. But in India, there is a loophole. It's called the orange loophole. Because when you take sannyasa, you are relieved of all your, duties. It's a convenient loophole. After all, where were they? Kurukshetra, outskirts of New Delhi, current New Delhi. And from there to go to Haridwar, where half the population is in orange, even today, doesn't take a lot of time. You can do in a bullock cart in those days, maybe in 8 hours, or if you walked 24 hours, you would be there. You would be there. So this loophole, when he started to look at this loophole, and what was the loophole? Orange loophole. Sannyasa. Just leave everything. Go to Amazon.com and order yourself an orange outfit. Very nice, very easy. And orange is easy to get because different kinds of people in this country wear, people who are behind bars, orange. Okay. Construction workers, orange. Sannyasi is also orange. Because that orange is very visible, that's why. So if somebody from the prison is on the lam, you want to be able to catch the fellow. That's why orange. That orange jumpsuit. This is why it is. So he started to plan his future and he thought, I'll just wear orange, sit under a tree, anything to get out of this war. Because when the going gets tough, what happens? The tough get going. Show some signs of life. Because, this pandemic has made us all very lazy because we are sitting in front of, not in yoga farm, but in Zoom farm and just listening blankly and, yeah. Now we have to get back to in-person interactions. It's a little bit of a, adjustment. So when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And he wanted to get going. And this is, one could say, oh, how noble he is, how nice. In the middle of the war, he had this epiphany of, of the uselessness of violence and bloodshed and everything. And he wanted a peaceful life. That's not what was happening. Because he had a peaceful life. 12 years he was banished in the forest. He would have come across many sadhus. He could have taken sannyasa in any of those 12 years. He chose not to. So 12 years he spent bloodthirsty, keeping the powder dry, chanting the mantras for all the missiles, because in those days they had in mantra-powered missiles for them to work. Then what happened? Then all his courage, his aplomb, suddenly, unexpectedly deserted him at the time of need. And he thought of running away. But somehow he knew that was not correct. Not correct to run away. Not correct to take to a life of sannyasa, which of course the Lord iterated that in the second chapter, in the middle of the second chapter, avachya vadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahitaha nindantastava samarthyam tato dukkhatarannu kim. Oh Arjuna, you think you will sit under a tree and what? You will sit and meditate or do something, beg for your food. Maybe you will grow a beard to camouflage your face so that people don't recognize you. But as soon as they come to put something in your bowl, some money or something, first thing they're going to say is what? Are you that Arjuna that left the battle and left the whole world in chaos? And you will have to say yes. And then even the little coin that they were going to put in your bowl, they will withdraw, put it back in their pocket, and they'll say, Thu, what's wrong with you? How dare you do this? And Lord Krishna says, the names they will call you are all Sanskrit 4-letter words. I am not able to talk about them. That's why they are avachya, unspeakable. I can't talk about them. And this is what you think you're going to lead a glorious life as a sannyasi and enjoy inner peace. But hello, wherever you go, there you are. You can leave the battle, but you cannot go away from yourself. This, of course, is talked about a little later. But even before that, in the first chapter, he has a little bit of this epiphany, because he's alarmed to see all kinds of different things happening to him. First is this feeling of apathy and complaint and victimization. Nakakshe vijayam Krishna narajyam sukhani cha kinno rajyena govinda kim bhogaihi kim jivitena va. No translation needed, right? I don't want any happiness. Why? Because the happiness is connected to kingdom. How can I be happy? Oh, kingdom. The kingdom also I don't need. Because if I have to kill all these people in order to get the kingdom, how will I be happy? These are my people. You see, here is the problem. Here is where the outer duality and the inner duality dovetail dysfunctionally, very dysfunctionally. More about that soon. But just to understand his mindset. So here is the place. He says, oh, the reason for which this war is being fought, I am not interested. And I'm not interested in the kingdom, because if I'm going to get the kingdom and the happiness after killing all these people, what happiness will be there? And of what use is this kingdom? And then he notices a few things about inner duality in his own body-mind complex. So he says, suddenly he has fever. Thankfully, it was not COVID, because it was not there then. So he says, my skin is on fire, I feel feverish. Na shaknomi avasthatum, my mind is all over the place. Brahmati iva me manaha, my mind is going all over the place so fast, it is running from thought to thought that I feel kind of dizzy. And then what? I'm seeing terrible omens. Arjuna, very, very rational, scientific, seeing omens, yes? Seeing omens. What omen did you see? I saw a bird flying the wrong way. And yeah, you see, the birds always fly in formation. And then one of them goes this way, and that's seen as a wrong omen, inauspicious. One of them goes away. That means that there is something that is not going to go as planned. There's something that's deserting you. I mean, it was always for a little while, and then it goes back to the formation because they are programmed to fly in formation. They know from the air around them and the flapping of the other bird's wings when to get back. They know. But sometimes they go like this, and that's called flying the wrong way. And so he sees the bird flying the wrong way, and then he sees something else. And again, one more omen. You can sneeze, but you must never have one sneeze. Yeah. So if you're going for some, good thing, like you're going to, for a job interview, and the neighbor is pruning the trees right there and sneezes once, you have to go back, sit down, go to your altar, pray, drink a little bit of water, and then depart. Then also you are full of trepidations. So these are all the kinds of omens that in everyday life. But somebody who is as courageous as Arjuna, who would poo-poo these omens, was completely into them, completely affected by them. Nimittani cha pashyami. I see omens. Oh, good omens? No. Viparitani cha keshava. Wrong omens, all bad omens. In other words, he finds himself suddenly in the middle of a panic attack, perhaps the first panic attack in history. Arjuna, yes. And I always say that, if paper bags were invented then Krishna would have tossed him a paper bag, breathe into the paper bag. Because, because apparently a little bit of carbon dioxide, your own out breath, if you take it in, it calms the mind and the body down. But since the paper bag was not invented, we have the entire Bhagavad Gita all to ourselves. Isn't that wonderful? Because then he had to take the long way and the more permanent way to dealing with his mindset, with his emotions, and with his discomfort, with his discontent. 700 plus verses, 18 chapters it took to overcome what we understand as inner duality. Is there a Sanskrit name for that? Yes. Jiva Srishti. Jiva Srishti means Jiva, meaning oneself, the individual, creation. As opposed to outer duality, Ishvara Srishti. These are the two things. And Arjuna was very blessed to have this panic attack right in front of Bhagavan, because it made him understand something is wrong. It made him contemplate sannyasa, which is never a bad thing. But he was not allowed to act on it by the Lord. It made him also want some permanent resolution to this state of affairs. And then it made him also understand, I need help. And he says, I have surrendered unto you. To me who has surrendered unto you, please teach me what is the best thing in the whole world. I want to have that. Having which these kinds of panic attacks, these kinds of difficulties, I don't have either within or without. Now, if there were really, this is the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. If there were really two kinds of dualities, inner and outer, then we would have, what should I say, part one inner duality, part two outer duality, etc. We would have two trajectories. First, we have to deal with how to overcome difficulties with regarding to the outer duality. symbolized in the Bhagavad Gita by who are these people? Bhishma, etc. The Kauravas. The Kauravas means the baddies, the bad people on the other side, Duryodhana, etc. The villains, the usurpers of the kingdom, the terrorizers of the public. These were the people. So we would have to have a whole treatise dealing with that, and then we would have to deal with the inner duality separately. But we find, and it doesn't need, you don't need a PhD to understand that the two often connect to and ricochet off one another. How? One day you wake up and somehow, as a blessing from Bhagavan, you find yourself in a fantastic mood. You slept well, you are rested, and you are happy for no reason at all. The credit card debt remains on that credit card. Student loans not yet paid fully. And then what else, And then everybody else is the same in your life. And, but still, somehow you are enjoying some peace and quiet, you're enjoying some inner space, you're happy. So much so that when you go out, when you're driving in the car, somebody cuts you off rudely and you say, Jane do, means let it go. I let this go. It's okay. Maybe that person was having a bad day. You are compassionate. You are loving. All of a sudden, there is love in the heart. Where was it before? I don't know, but I find it here suddenly. If somebody even disses you, this is a new word, okay? Yeah, disses means disrespects you. You are able to wash that off and say, it's okay, it's all right. And compare this to another day where all those things which we talked about are so many triggers to just, darken the whole experience like an eclipse coming on the head. The mood is all off. One is angry, one is upset, one is fearful, one is tearful, and all one wants is to just go away somewhere. This is how it is. Why is it like this? Nobody knows. At least it is not discernible. Which brings us to a very, very important point. And what is that point? This inner duality, if it were real, would always be there. I would always be holding cudgels against the world. I would always be mad at the universe. And certain things which I don't like, my dveshas, would always, always, always trigger me. This is the thing. This is what one would, expect. But there is contradiction. Vyabhichara, there is a very big contradiction. Sometimes there is no personal rain cloud that is making my mood all angry, upset. Sometimes there is a rain cloud, sometimes there is an eclipse, sometimes there is no eclipse. This itself shows that there is there's some kind of a discrepancy. Which me is real? That is the question. The I that is subject to anger, fear, sorrow, upset, scarcity, victimization, powerlessness, or the I that is powerful, loving, compassionate, non-demanding, appreciative, and contented. Which one is real? Huh? Which one is real? Second one? How do we know? What's the proof? How do we know that that the compassionate, non-demanding, approving, and appreciative, loving person is the real me? How do we know that? Do we need to look into the Upanishads to understand that? No. I already know that. It is almost as self evident as my own existence. Why is it true? Because that is what I want to be. It is in keeping with my direst and the dearest yearning. Even the most unloving person will say, I wanted to be loving in this situation, but I could not. And so what did you do? I just did. I said the things I shouldn't have said. I did the things I shouldn't have done. This is how it is. So there is this longing to be somebody that one is not. What kind of a stupid and a strange longing might it be to be somebody that one is not? So if I'm not loving, if I'm not compassionate by nature, if I'm not the incarnation of love, tolerance, compassion, accommodation, calmness, then why do I yearn to be that way? Because there is some knowledge already there. Even without entering a single ashram or looking at the words of a single Upanishad or the Bhagavad Gita, there is that understanding. And that understanding comes from experience. An experience which is admittedly elusive, fleeting. But that fleeting experience of being loving, being happy, being limitless, being accommodative is enough to make that want perhaps the biggest want in your life. And if you are to disagree and say, no, 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 I want something more than I want this, then I will say that whatever you want is really this. If this want is not recognized, the want morphs into many, many, many wants. I want this, I want that, so many ragas, so many difficulties, etc. If this want is recognized, then you can address this directly. The difference is between eating straight away like this, the food, or eating it like that. Usually that is how it is with the people. I want, what is that? I want to be happy. Okay, so what are you going to do? I'm going to see a movie. Then what? 2 hours you're happy. After that, oh, not okay. I'm going to go out to dinner. Oh, after that again bored. In fact, the pandemic gave everybody a spiritual boost because one was forced to confront with the inner duality. No options at all. Can't go to movies, can't go to dinner. All restaurants were closed 2 years ago. And can't go take a plane and go somewhere. Nothing was running. Nothing was going. Internationally also you could not go anywhere. Grounded. It's almost like Bhagavan said, deal with it. That's why I call it the Karuna virus. Yeah, that's what it is. Because it is Bhagavan's compassion, because of which we are able to have a little bit of a deep engagement with this Jiva Srishti inner duality. Now, the inner duality is because now we can see the contours of this duality. I want to be something that I'm not. That itself is the duality. Right here is the fissure. Right here is the break. And most of the time one feels like an imposter going through life masquerading as someone one is not. especially after a few classes on Vedanta. It is, oh, I know I'm Brahman, but how to feel it? I know I'm Brahman, but how to experience it? I know I'm Brahman, but how to behave like Brahman and not a jiva, a jaded, faded jiva. This is what the thing is. Now, coming back to Arjuna's story. Arjuna recognizes here, right in the second chapter, that I need help. And what kind of help? When you need help, you need to go to somebody who is equipped to help. There's no point of going to, going to learn calculus from somebody who doesn't know how to even spell the word calculus. What is the use? You have to go to an expert. And the expert here is called guru. The term gu stands for ignorance, and the term ru stands for the one who removes that. That is the guru. And how does the guru know how to remove that? Because the guru has gone through the same process of reconciling this inner duality, of doing something to it, with it, and is able to be a guide. That is the guru, not someone who has dropped from the sky. That is why lineage, that is why parampara, sampradaya matters. That's why this is not a cult. What we are doing here is not something based on one person's personality and you adore that personality and everything is okay. No, this is actually teaching. This is actually engaging with all those aspects of oneself which one wants to overcome. Then what is this? If that is inner duality, then what is outer duality? But how come this person causes me sorrow? That person's presence is annoying. The other person is too much. I need some space from that person. But you married them 2 years ago. Doesn't matter. Now I need space from that very person. So what about all these people who are causing this inner duality? The Shastra will say, the Upanishad and the Bhagavad Gita are unanimous in this. The teaching is just, one single-minded here. And what does the teaching say? What outer duality? What outer duality? Question mark. Where is it? Show me. Well, it is in this person over there. The pointing finger comes out. It's in this person. What's wrong with that person? He hates me. She has a problem with me. This one doesn't like me. This one thinks himself to be superior to me. That's half of the world. The other half, I don't like this person. I don't like that one. And why does this person exist? This is how it is. And even coming to satsang, that is the thing. First there is meditation, and then the lights are still, first meditation lights are not on. You don't know who else there is. You're just with yourself. You meditate, you have a nice meditation. Then the lights become on, and during the chanting itself, you look around, who else is there? And then you immediately say, what? This person has come to satsang? What will they know? How will they do this? They're getting angry all the time. Already in passing that judgment, my mood is completely off. You see what has happened. And so without spiritual instruction, the inner duality and the outer duality appear to keep rubbing off of each other and causing a sore in the heart, one that just will not heal. And so, two things are advised by the Shastra. First thing is to look at inner duality differently. First thing is to see inner duality with the same measure of love and compassion that I want to exude in the world. So that inner duality has to be loved up. That's really the only way to do that. How to love it up? And this is where karma yoga comes into the picture, is that when you focus on a cause or causes that are bigger than your own little self and the little problems that appear to be big, then those problems are naturally and gracefully falsified. That's what happens. A life of a Vaidika, meaning a person connected to the Vedic tradition, was so busy morning to night. Starts with Homa. First thing in the morning, Homa. And then what? There are so many duties. Duties towards the family, duties towards the various manifestations of God, deities, and duties towards the beings who cannot speak for themselves, like the animal world, the birds, animals, etc., insects, duties towards fellow beings, duties towards the ancestors, and then some more prayer, one more homa in the evening. Another, then of course there is cooking, cleaning, and the cooking is never done without offering to all these people. 5 kinds of yajnas are talked about. And then after that, one is so tired, one goes to sleep. No time to uh, dwell in the inner duality. Because dwelling in the inner duality is living in a place that is not your home. So if you move into a place with moldy walls, no windows, and something is running somewhere, leaking water, and the place is a mess, somebody has not cleaned up, and you move in there, can you feel at home? Absolutely not. You will be very, very, very disturbed all the time. Similarly, living in and reproducing the inner duality is a place of imminent danger. And then the whole body mind loop starts, because the mind is disturbed and is living in a heart that is fraught with divisions and all kinds of problems there. Then it affects the body. And then the body again, because of all the things happening to the body, then the mind gets disrupted and affected even more. And we have this loop. Somewhere we have to interrupt it. So if you find yourself living in a kind of a pigsty, which calls itself a house, full of leakage, full of smells, full of leftover food hanging out there, untidy, what will you do? You will run away from that. Yeah, clean up or run away. And that's exactly what is needing to be done. In the beginning, it is so overwhelming, you can't clean up. Where are you going to start? Oh, I think I cleaned the counter. Oh, but then something else is there. Everything is on fire. Which fire to put out at once? Which one? At what time? And so first, you get out of there. That is karma yoga. You get out of there. You be in service. And then you are fortified with the strength to come back and clean it up and say to yourself and to everybody else, this is not my house. I am not at home with it. Then what happens? Then slowly over time, nothing is instant, not even going to the gym. If you go to the gym and do some presses, some kind of a presses. Why? Because you had a pressing need to suddenly shape up. So you do this press, that press, and then after that come out and look for the muscles. Then you will be depressed. That's all. And then because after one visit to the gym, no muscle will come. Second day, oh, do I have muscle? What is the answer? No. Third day, no. After 1 month of going regularly, no cheating, going regularly. Same thing with yoga. One day you do asana practice, nothing will happen. No, it will be you'll be calm. That's all, which is nice. Even if you are not calm, other people around you will be happy because you are out of out of the equation. They don't have to deal with you because you meditated and did yoga. See, yoga is social service. Ah. Other people also benefit. There's one more reason to do it. So then, what to do now? Because there is this urgency, and that urgency is directed outwards in a very prescribed way, in a very beautiful way. It is directed outwards so that one can be one can have some kind of a, what's its name, one can have some freedom. One can have some freedom from that pain and from that sorrow, to be able to look at the house and see where to start. So it's a lifelong program. Sometimes, you have to reserve 2 3 lifetimes for that. So there is no rush. What's the rush? Because how many lifetimes have we spent in this kind of a dissonance between inner and outer duality? Nobody knows. So there is no rush. There is no need to hurry. You can just go slowly. You have the time. What is there? So that is how to deal with this inner duality. What about outer duality? That also starts to resolve, because, again, in the light of the teachings, and these teachings are found from the seventh, so all over the Bhagavad Gita, really, but in particular between the 7th and the 12th chapters, which talks about the outer duality, Ishvara Srishti, from a very startling standpoint. Startling meaning one is not used to seeing it that way at all. One thinks of the world coming to get me. Even in the horror scope, if we can say that, the planets are in the wrong place. Shani is all wrong. Shani means Saturn. Why is Saturn all wrong? Because it keeps returning. That's why it's called Saturn return. One time you escape, next time it will get you. 30-year cycle. In the vision of the Shastras, the Saturn has only, is limps. So goes through the zodiac signs slowly. 12 zodiac signs in 29 and a half years, 30 years almost. That's a long time. So when he comes to your moon sign, he doesn't say, oh, I'm running like Mercury. No, I'm here to stay. Give me some coffee, give me some dinner. I'm here. How long is your visit? 7.5 years. 7.5 years? Why? But you're here only, but I heard only 2.5 years in each zodiac sign. No, I already say hello when I'm in the zodiac sign prior to yours. And then in your zodiac sign, I'm here to stay. And then you will see the effects of me, even when I'm in the zodiac sign next to yours. That's 7.5 years. Yeah. It's a very nice thing, because Saturn is a teacher. Yeah, I don't think only Guru is the teacher. Saturn is a teacher, but whose methods are to leave a lot of things to be desired. Guru, compassionate, Ajao beta, come, sit, listen. This is the thing. Yeah, there is time. You can slowly change. Saturn will first take away your shirt and then say, enjoy the Vairagya. This is what it is. Saturn gives Vairagya. Saturn gives Viveka too. And so this way, one takes the time to do this. But the outer duality, is something which is fascinating, how to deal with outer duality, because all these things in one's, which become the subject matter of one's complaints, starting, as I said, with one's horoscope. Planets are in the wrong place. And then what else is in the wrong place? I was born in the wrong family. None of the people are like me. Nobody is interested in yoga. Nobody is interested in Vedanta. Why should they be like you? No, I'm so uncomfortable. I must have been adopted. Everybody thinks that. And then everybody at some point or the other thinks that. Even the parents think that. Like maybe there was some exchange in the hospital. How come this one came through me? They also are secretly thinking that. Okay, so I don't fit in the family. I don't fit in the world. I don't fit. Even my horoscope is not mine. It's just all wrong. I don't fit with other people. I mean, where do you fit? That's a very fitting question because I don't know where I fit. And so the outer duality really seems to be insurmountable for these reasons. But in the Shastra, it is depicted as something inevitable. And whatever is inevitable has to be radically accepted. What other option do you have? No, I'm not going to accept it. Okay, fine. Like a person who had done a crime was told, you are being arrested for such and such. They'll have some, list of things that the fellow did. You are going to be taken to jail for these crimes. No, I'm not going to accept it. Is that going to make a difference? Is this fellow's non-acceptance going to make a difference about how long this fellow will be incarcerated? No. Whether you accept it or not is not going to make a difference. In fact, if you don't accept it, you have chosen to trigger again another attack of inner duality. You have tripped on the wires of inner duality again and fallen flat on your face. So what to do? That which cannot, if you can change it, no problem. We are talking of the circumstances that cannot be changed. Your birth cannot be changed. You cannot say, I wish I was a bird. You're not a bird. You're here. You don't have wings. At the most, you can buy a plane ticket. That's all. You don't have wings. Or you can go skydiving. That's all. And taste your lunch a second time. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. You can't really, you can't change that. Oh, I wish I was not the eldest because I have to be responsible. You can't change that. I wish I was not the youngest because I only wore hand-me-downs. You cannot change that. I don't like my parents. You cannot change that. They were terrible. You cannot change that. Why was I born in this kind of an economic background? You cannot change that. Why was I not born in India? Many people from America keep saying that, especially the spiritual-minded people. And then the people in India are all of them, half of them are waiting in the American consulate in a long line. I want to go to America. I wish I was born in America. This is what it is. Why am I in a man's body? Very difficult to change. You can change, but it is difficult. Why am I in a woman's body? Again, this is how it is. This is how it is. What is the it? The it stands for Ishvara, Bhagavad. What is Ishvara. This is the teaching of the Upanishad. That which I cannot control, or that which is inevitable, that which cannot be changed, is part of a universal law. starting with one's own karma, starting with one's own body. You can't change your body. You cannot change so many things about it. Color of skin, so many things you cannot change. And so this is what we say is a manifestation of Bhagavan, not a mandate of Bhagavan. Mandate means there is some guy in the sky giving out orders, and that gives a lot of, that causes a lot of pain. Because why is somebody else favored and why I am not favored? Those questions which are unanswerable keep coming. And God becomes no different than authority figure, like primary caregiver who turned into a primary scaregiver. This is what happens. So therefore, we don't say it's a mandate. The world is a mandate of God, and the laws of the universe are a mandate of God. No, it's a manifestation of Bhagavan. Wherever you see things you do not like, what is there? Bhagavan, Ishvara. That is what is God. Whatever you do not like, Bhagavan. Whatever you like, of course, Bhagavan. And whatever you hate, Bhagavan. Whatever annoys you, double helping of Bhagavan. Adversity in life, triple helping of Bhagavan. Difficulties that appear to be insurmountable, again Bhagavan. Quadruple servings of Bhagavan. More difficulties means more Bhagavan is in your life. That is a very good way to look at it. Everywhere is Bhagavan. And this is the subject matter from the 7th to the 12th chapter. And there is a very nice peak in the 10th chapter where all the wonderful things, Bhagavan says, it's not you, it's me. So where is the inner duality? It's not there at all. All that is there is Bhagavan, including the mad machinations of my own mind. That is also Bhagavan. In fact, when you say, I am sad, then what? I'm lonely. And I'm lonely because I'm sad because I'm lonely. Again, that inner duality loop is starting. But then extricate yourself, get back to the place of the Sakshi, the witness. And what do you see? You see that if there is this particular background, then these feelings of dismal sorrow will be there. If there is a particular background, there will be loneliness. Given this background, I can't, and given these issues of my childhood, I cannot but be sad in this situation, which was a trigger. When I come to that understanding, immediately there is redemption because I'm not looking at my mind, I'm looking at my mind as a manifestation of Bhagavan. There is something general. There is no me anywhere there. There is only you, which is Bhagavan. This is how it is. That is why psychology, the study of the mind, it is Bhagavan. It's not any one person's loneliness or another person's anger, third person's sorrow. Loneliness doesn't belong to you. Anger doesn't belong to you. There is a law there. Given that things don't go my way, I get angry. This is a law. And everybody, somebody in China, same thing. Somebody in Australia, same thing. Somebody in South America, same thing. If one does not, whenever desire is thwarted, it turns into anger. This is again the Bhagavad Gita in the 2nd chapter. Sangat sanjayate kamaha, kamat krodho bhijayate. Krodha, anger, is born from not gaining the object of attachment. It is very, very clear. It's a universal law. And when I look at the mind from that standpoint, the inner duality flies away. There is no inner duality. There is no you. There is only Bhagavan. And therefore, the prayer of every mumukshu, seeker of freedom, every jignasu means the seeker of knowledge. Are they two different people? No. A mumukshu is a jignasu in waiting, really. So first one says, I want out, I want out. And in order that, what does that out mean? I need to study. I need to have a radical transformation of my life in order to make this change. This is what it is. That is the jignasu, the desirer of knowledge. And so the prayer for every mumukshu, the prayer for every jignasu should be, O Bhagavan, Hey Bhagavan, O Lord, let there be more of you and less of me in me. More Bhagavan means more compassion. More Bhagavan means I'm an embodiment of love. More Bhagavan means more accommodation of things, people, and situations I cannot handle. More Bhagavan means more peace. More Bhagavan means more surrender. More Bhagavan means less conflict. Let there be more of you and less of me. What is this me? Why me? That me. Okay. Victimy, that me. And the one who feels I have so many problems, that me. The one who is disempowered, that me. Let there be less and less of that me and more of the me that I really want to be. I will say the closing prayer and we can have a few questions if people want. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadag Purnameva Vishishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om